models, and then open source. And then we obviously saw Asterisk come into the voice over IP world and basically do the same thing.
Yes.
To what extent does that concept, that thought process, have an impact on Sonus? Now, I understand the Sonus network, the equipment, it's very robust. It's carrier glass, not necessarily there's anything wrong with Asterisk level development, but I've also heard in the past anyway of certain voice switch manufacturers going the way of adopting an Asterisk model, and in some cases even Asterisk, into their core product so that it was available to be developed on top of features from the community. Is that similar to how you operate?
So, so there's two parts to the question really, is how different is the Asterisk model from a vendor-based model like ours? And then is open source really what we do? Really, so first of all, Asterisk is a great example of bringing open source into telephony in general.
Yes.
I think they have proven the fact that open source can be done in telecom, and that's a great achievement. What we do different from Asterisk to some extent is that we create equipment that can scale immensely or massively at rates that are not necessarily easily scalable with an Asterisk-like platform. What Asterisk does is it provides open source, easily downloadable open source off-the-shelf tools, essentially. So software that can be downloaded, compiled, and installed on an off-the-shelf server. And we actually have taken a two-pronged approach there. I think for basic servers, we've taken an 80-20 approach, if you will, where most subscribers will use about 80% of the time will use basic telephony services in the consumer world. Basic telephony services like call forwarding, caller ID, and things like that, which they expect to work. They do not expect that kind of stuff to fail. And so what we've decided to do is we've taken a fairly robust, very scalable and proven, industry proven platform, our ASX, our Class 5 feature server, application server platform, and implemented those types of services, basically bread and butter table stake services. And then the 20% is where innovation happens, and that's where IMX comes in, and that's where we've adopted the same kind of mentality that for example, an Asterisk would have.
It sounds similar.
Is use open source. So our IMX platform, for example, runs on an Intel server with Linux operating system and a JBoss J2EE stack in it. So it's all open source inside it, and if you wish, you can also make your application's code itself open source. So we've completely embraced that kind of paradigm, but we've done it while retaining the reliability and
controlled open source. That's really, it's very smart. You give them what they want within your domain, and it makes a very reliable platform also flexible.
Well, the other thing is also that how many innovative application developers really want to write the next really great call forwarding app. You don't really want to innovate something that's already proven to work and that already works well on existing infrastructure. So that's the kind of approach that I'm talking about, essentially. Is the innovation really takes out of the box mindset. Sometimes that fails. And so to offer that fail fast capability, but then succeed and scale immediately, that's the mindset.
A lot of value. It's very flexible. So what do you see the future as far as voice over IP is concerned? And that's a pretty broad question, so I'll try and be a little bit more specific. Who are your customers today? 6 out of 10 big carriers. And do you think carriers are going to be your customers 10 years from now? Or are they going to be ASPs, or are they going to be enterprises, or what?
That's a great question. So, of course, we have 6 out of 10 top carriers today. We expect to have more and more carriers as our customers. Sonus has always been very carrier focused. We'll continue to be. But I believe 10 years from now, will carriers be the only customers that we have? Probably not. I believe we will have service providers that are not necessarily from the telco domain also try and get into subscription-based or session-oriented services and kind of merge this transactional interaction that they currently have with the consumer. So if you look at a Google or a Yahoo or any one of those large service providers that are providing data services today, or information or social networks, for example, they're providing a very transactional experience to the user. And I believe that session-oriented experience will trickle into that transactional paradigm, and vice versa, meaning carriers will start adopting transactional type business models more as well. So you'll see more blending of business models at the same time, convergence of platforms and technologies. So I definitely believe that we will have more than just carriers as our customers.
What do you think the time frame is?
Like you said, 10 years from today, it may well be very much shorter than that.
It might be sooner.
Yeah.
Listen, Pankaj, thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure. Nice to see you. Hopefully we can catch up again sometime soon.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks.